lowly programmer, and because I'm a programmer, obviously that means I come in contact with lots and lots of math on a daily basis. That being said, a lot of my work gets circumvented by the aimless attempts at trying to solve the impossible puzzles of the world. I don't know why I find so much excitement out of trying to solve impossible puzzles, but it's fun. I think, like the rest of you, I probably share that hobby. Anywho, so today I actually have something to show you guys. Amidst all of my studies, doing various things with circles and graphs and things, I came across something pretty cool. It's essentially a way to both multiply and divide using a graph. I actually want to delete this line so that we'll be starting from a fresh palette. So yeah, over here on the left I have some instructions on how to do this, and then on the right here I have some of the steps already laid out, but I'll point out I'll point out the portions of the graph that map to one of the steps over here to the left as I go along, so that it'll be pretty simple. So let's begin. So step one is to just draw an x and y axis of length n. Now n represents the entirety of the number that you want to divide. So in our case, we're going to use n equals 12. And the reason being is just 12 is just a lovely divisible number. I mean, no other reason than that. I like 12 because it divides by a lot of things. You can use any number. Try not to choose a prime number. Prime numbers will give you a headache. It won't demonstrate what's happening here on this graph, but you'll understand why as we go along. So step two is to just draw a perpendicular line of length n at value 1 on the x-axis. So what that means is we want to reflect the line that we have over here at the origin, and we want to put that over here on the 1 value. And the reason being is that this axis that we just created here is just supposed to represent our numerator, essentially. This is the thing that we're dividing by, or it can also be our coefficient. It's the thing that we're multiplying by. But it's essentially the thing in between your answer and your input. Okay. And the reason why it has to be at value 1 is because in both division and multiplication, 1 is the identity. So, there you go. So, if you're multiplying, then you want to choose a coefficient from the x-axis and a coefficient pair from the y prime axis. Now, the y prime axis, we're calling the y prime axis, this axis here, on the 1 value. Y prime, because, there's a step that I didn't list here, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So when you make your y prime, so the y-axis that's happening here on the 1 value on the x-axis, you want to list your numbers in reverse order, starting at your maxima at the origin of your 1 axis. And the reason being is that in order for these numbers to make sense, they have to be backwards. I'm still trying to decide why. Maybe somebody can help me with that, but yeah, I mean, it only works this way. So let's start off with multiplying. So we're going to choose an x. We're going to choose a coefficient on our x-axis. So let's say 4, and let's zoom in a little bit so that we get that 4 line. Okay. Oh, I didn't think it would do that. So we can choose 4, and then it says to also choose a coefficient on our y prime. So let's multiply 4 by 3, okay, because we want to make 12, right? So it says to draw a line through the selected points all the way through to the extra axis. So what that means is that we just want to draw not a line segment, but a line through our two coefficients. So, sorry, this is my first time working with this here. Okay. So let's take a line, and then we're gonna go from 3, or no, what did I say, 4? And then we're going to go up to 3 on our y prime. And then what you'll see here is that where it crosses our y-axis is going to be our product. So essentially our y-axis has become our product axis. Our y prime axis has essentially become our coefficient prime axis, I guess, and then our x-axis is just our coefficient axis. So essentially we want to draw a line from our coefficient axis through our coefficient prime axis, thus that it crosses our product axis at the answer. And as you can see, it works, and this will work for all, products. So let's go from 3 to 4, okay, and then we're going to go from 2 to 6, and you can see where they're converging, and we're going to go from 6 to 2. Boom. And as you can see, because of our layout, the way that the graph is set up, they will always cross at the product, which is 12. This will always work so long as you're setting up your y prime, thus that it is descending from your maximum value. So in our case, it's 12. But yeah, and obviously, in the same way that it works for multiplication, it also works for division. So let's delete these lines. See, I'm messing up. Okay. I'm sorry. If anybody has used this tool, fuck you. No, it's just this. I like it because it makes it easy to make the graph and to do, all the lines and line segments and things. It's just that everything is in the wrong place, and it does some weird zooming. I usually do this in Illustrator, but I wanted to use this so that I can show you guys. So anywho, division is the same way as multiplication. It's just you want to choose your numerator from your y-axis, and then you want to choose your denominator from your y prime. So it's like you're working backwards. It's like you're working backwards. Sorry. So let's go back over here. So in this case, again, we're going to start from 12 because 12 is beautifully divisible. And remember, 12 is going to be our numerator, and we want to divide by what? 3. And again, you see that our quotient is going to be down here on our x-axis. So essentially, now if you look at this graph through a division lens, what we have here is our y-axis becomes our numerator axis. Our y prime axis now becomes our denominator axis, and then our x-axis becomes our quotient axis, essentially. And yeah, it all works the same. And it even works for the identities. So I didn't show this, but if I go from 12 to 1, Yeah, I mean, it's 1. I mean, and that's obvious, you know. I mean, or, I'm sorry, 12 divided by 12. That's what it is. Sorry. Yeah, so if I divide 12 divided by 12, it's 1. And then, conversely, let's, inversely? Okay. So, conversely, I think we can go from 12 to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. We don't have to do that. I forgot we have our prime. So, to 1, and it finds 12 for us because, you know, it just works. So, I've taught my niece this. I've taught my nephew this, and it's made division and multiplication extremely easy for them. You know, you just get the kids like some graph paper, and it makes it so that they can visualize the math. You know, I remember growing up, addition and subtraction was really easy, but when you got to multiplication, there were certain ones that were easier than others. And then when you got to division, it was like a clusterfuck. You know, I hated long division. So this makes it so that, yeah, you can visualize it. I've never seen this done before. So if anybody has ever seen this, please point it out to me. I've been looking all over. But if you haven't, you know, share this. You know, I hope that this can help people. I really do. Like, I use this all the time now, and it just makes me think of numbers in a different way, especially numbers which we think of as not purely geometric. I think that eventually I'm going to discover that all numbers are geometric, but we'll see. So, I mean, this is the video. I think I'm done. But, you know, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I have many, 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 many more proofs and theories and things. And I think I'm going to start posting them. So, just subscribe or, you know, follow me on Reddit, you know, Ja Superior. And when I do post them, you know, I hope that it intrigues you in much the same way that possibly this might. So, you know, have a wonderful day.